Yeah.
Hello, everyone. This is Kawarizmi. Yeah, so am I starting now or?
Yes, you can
All
start.
right. So the sharing today is hashtag dearhassan, just to uh, sort of reimagine ourselves to be young and free. We don't have much obligation or direction per se. So this is a reflection. I'm talking to myself, to my dear self, that how do I start doing architecture and where we are going. So it is fairly obvious that we all start from somewhere, and most likely when we do, we don't know where we are going. My earlier experience in what you call design or space appreciation comes from mainly video games. I think it is a very gory game, Doom 2 in Windows 95. But it teach a lot of appreciation of spatial awareness, where space is fairly important for you to move about. It's a 2D game designed in Fox or pseudo 3D environment. So it is an interesting game, and eventually games get better and games look like this. This is SimCity 3. It looks a bit more like a simulation. It looks like a game that look like your work, and your work starting to look more like a game. So that's more or less what happened. But some people do come and help us to shine the light. So you can see there's a whole lineage of people in UiTM. I think not many people talk about teachers, local teachers, local academia that actually make a difference. Tuan Syed Sobri is obviously retired. He's been there for years. And of course, I learned a lot from Architect Wan Azhar and myself and Yasmin. Yasmin is my wife. We are on the same batch. Actually, a lot of people don't know. A lot of people that shared in this platform before is, more or less coming from the same batch of people. Like Sam. Sam is my junior. Adra as well. My junior. Sheila is 2 semester older. So 2 semester up from me. So we are more or less coming from that generation that learned from Wanazar, Jamshid and whatnot. And of course, at the last part, I believe I inspire some people to actually do something with their architectural journey. So what the things that I learned the most is that you need to sort of have a tool, have a filter. So this is the first organization per se or platform practice, which is MDRXA, talking about mainly research in architecture and things that relate to architecture. And of course, as a lot of competitions actually need a actual registered firm, I took upon myself to open out Kawarizmi Architect, which is a sole proprietor. And when things got a bit more serious, I opened out a bit more established firm, which is a Sunan Berhad, which is Practical Architect Sunan Berhad. So this have more partners, more senior people to be running the practice together. So in short, you can see MDRXA as a shovel. It's very rough, broad stroke, with the intention of abstraction. And Kawarizmi Architect is more directional, form giving, but still is conceptual. And practice has to be accurate. It has to be detailed. It is contractual. So obviously we don't want to get sued. We don't want to go to jail, stuff like that. So this is sort of the apparatus, the range of tools. So in any given undertaking, we can tune ourselves to this particular to specific direction depending on the need. So what I did with this tool is that I use them to enter competitive design. So mainly because in sports, for example, a small country like Jamaica can be in the forefront of the world just because they are good at marathon. So obviously it's very hard to compete with large established firm. So I think competition is a good leveler. You can see a lot of people get known due to competition. John Utzon, Suno Heta, Duluga Mizel. So all this, all competition is actually a great leveler. So I'm just gonna straight right into the first project, I guess. So a lot of people live in stratified home, and basically, if you look at it carefully, stratified home is nothing more like a submarine, because you have this telescope. Once in a while, you go to that telescope. What you can see, actually, telescope can be metaphorical, representation of windows. Mostly, you're gonna spend like 10 minutes looking out of your windows, and then you're gonna retreat to the interior. So, except your interior doesn't look like this, most likely you're gonna look more or less like this. And basically, these two things are not designed together. Basically, things that inside your home is industrial design. Things that is containing the home is architecture. So you can see that architecture are trying to contain industrial design, which is sometimes relatively problematic because they don't have a similar language. And you can see that there's something wrong with our interior. So we have to, we kind of take upon ourselves to look at it, what's up. So this is one of my, method getting towards design. I always like to think negative. I know it's fairly, weird, but only when you think of negative, you can discover the obvious. Because if you are, thinking about good stuff, there's nothing much to explore. I think if you look at how people describe other people, you can, extract their negative traits, faster than their positive ones. So getting to know your house, we look upon like a standard 3-bedroom house. Like this is fairly small. It's not even 900 square feet, but we just running through. I just want to, the point is whenever you bought a house, you bought 100% of them, but because of walls, ducts, pipes and whatnot, you are only able to enjoy 87. Then if you put a moderate amount of furnitures, this is what, as we simulating, you can only like walk or enjoy 66 part of it. But of course, due to the mortgage thing, you actually paying 185% of your house. So actually, if you look at all the types, as you go smaller, your efficiency go lower. So as you can see, the 750 square feet is fairly, only half of them you can walk. So that's why your house feels small. That's why, properties doesn't justify their price. And of course, in a duplex unit, it's a little bit more efficient due to the fact that they don't have much walls. It's a studio unit. That's why. So there's a lot of space occupied by our walls. So we are thinking, what if we can just simply, have this duplication of surface not to happen. So if we can have them squished together, hopefully we can save some. So ultimately, we want to increase the amount of space that it is walkable or enjoyable. So if you think about it, it is more like your apps. You can exchange parts, update your modules, stuff like that. And they should work, intergenerational modules should work together. So your kitchen parts, your dining, your living should be able to be changed over time. Of course, it will correlate the module, the framework, the dimension will correlate to urban scale up to utensil. So this is actually a competition that we proposal we submit for a competition for Gamuda IBS housing competition, and we asked them to, instead of thinking about physical building, why don't we propose sort of a document how to think about domestic architecture. So this is the basic modules, because the limitation of IBS panel, IBS means industrial building system, industrialized building system. So it's actually a building that made of components like Lego. So they can be mutated into whatever form that they have, whatever site that they would have in the future. And it will look more or less like this. We have a simple iteration of these blocks. And, we tried, this is the, we'll be given a hypothetical site. So we're responding to that site. So the building will look more or less like this. And basically, we try to ensure that it is, more or less standardized, obviously, and then still create this unique proposition of spatial experience. yeah, I will not go through. I mean, of course, there's a lot of things to see there, but it is basically that's how it looks. So what we're trying to do is that we don't hate a game, create one for others to play. So the idea was we don't like to uh, for example, a Lego, right? We don't like to be the person that actually play the Lego. We like to be the person that actually create the Lego. So that's why we establish a basic for other people to jump in. Obviously, this is fairly vanilla. Anyone can go in and then do their own, their own thing. So let's say IKEA wants to hop on this system, or any whatever furniture shop, whatever furniture manufacturer wants to hop in, they can just abide to the frameworks, or buy their licensing, purchase their licensing from Gamuda, stuff like that. So we are moving Gamuda away from actually selling physical homes, not only homes. We are, we're saying to them, you can sell license, stuff like that can go into your house. So the house is actually come like this, it's empty. So you can, pop in any modules, whatever, and you can fill up to the brim like this, up to its full. But the main thing is that when it is standardized across developments, these modules have second-hand value, market on the value on the second-hand market. So the idea was to ensure that it is exchangeable, it's very simple, it's more or less like a drywall meshed together with furniture. To accommodate new homeowners, obviously there's a lot of things to consider. So we're thinking of creating a UI for them, choosing their unit, location of their unit, and eventually try to get through these templates of, obviously this is for the masses. So we establish some sort of templates for them, and they can go through the templates. Obviously you can, customize it later, but this is when you want to get your first home, during your vacant possession. You can go through section A to section Z. You can see that there's a lot of sections, and then you can choose your modules as you please. And basically, the house try to accommodate different situations, different scenarios. Obviously, there's a lot of property hanging. So it is good if you have this flexible product. The developers can keep on repackaging the product. The homeowners can have this house relevant more than 20 years, hopefully. So when they have more child, they can compartmentalize more rooms. If they don't, they can have this very open bachelor kind of layout. Or if they're running their startup practice, they can have that here too. So the design has explicitly tried to allow more surface to the external surface, ensuring light and ventilation to all. That's why it looks like this zigzaggy L shape. But of course, in this particular proposal, there is 22 unit type. So, there's a lot of creative stuffs going on. So the only thing that is fixed is the external wall and also the toilet. So we wanted for this against, big people, big names, GDP, GSD, Veritas. So we are happy. All right, moving forward, there's a lot of things going on right now, especially on the online market space. I think a lot of people, has accustomed to buying online. Now during the COVID-19, people are buying fresh food online as well. But people still like to go to the market. You can see a lot of market become the epicenter of COVID-19 transmission. But a lot of market has very simple infrastructure, and they are poorly maintained. And then of course there's a lot of ad hoc additional structures by the vendors. And at the end of the day, it's a question of ready meal versus homemade meal. Do you really need to go to the market, or you just need to get to the ready meal food? So some people like to order from Grab as well, and market sometimes could be seen as redundant. There's a lot of problem with market. One of them is that a lot of people have to go through empty and closed stalls, which is not nice. I mean, just imagine in the shopping mall, like 50% of shop you pass through is closed. It doesn't give that good vibe. Sometimes, vendors has packed and cleaned their stalls, but you still have to walk through that particular area, and then you leave foot marks. And this is how it looks. You have to go around, because most markets is open plan design. The produce is, bundled, clustered together, of course, but because of the poor directional navigational cues, you tend to go around and find your produce in a random, not random lah, but you will overlap some circulation. And yeah, obviously you need to go through something to get to somewhere. You need to go through veggie to get to fruits. You need to go through seafood to get to meat, stuff like that. It's not good. And a lot of them feature horizontal floor and large horizontal floor, artificial lighting. It is almost required even though you are operating in daylight. And obviously we have this cloud of white beams, white under slab, which is not good as well. You can see that this is an example in SS15 market. And in this PJ section 14 market, I'm not mistaken, there's a lot of cross-contamination happening. Vegetable is just right there, the water splash from the seafood vendor, stuff like that. So this will not help, improve food safety, will not improve the outlook and customer appreciation. And some market like this, for example, in Jalan Pasar Perak is fairly mixed up. So there's not even a non-halal section. It's mixed side by side. So it's kind of making it weird, and basically try to we try to address all of this. We do look. Maybe I'll just skip through. We do go around, and this is Pasar Borong Selangor, and try to look at percentage and allocation of programs in this particular market. This is Pasar SS15. You can see there's a lot, food and beverage, most likely because of the office worker around. This is in Digital Mall, I think, yeah. So we go through 8 markets actually. So I'm just showing you 4, but ultimately, you can see that our market is most similar to Pasar TTDI with elevated market floor, which we'll see later on. So market in Penang, by the way, this is a competition of existing market in Penang that we have to relocate. So market in Penang start with a street market. Eventually, it goes into a simple structure, shed structure like this. I think there's a lot of simple set structure like this around in Taiping, I think. I have been made known that there's such beautiful market in Taiping as well. And obviously, as cars occupy the street, we can't use the street anymore for market trading. So they build more permanent structure. Eventually, that permanent structure is full. People start occupying nearby shop lots, shop houses to accommodate complementary trading. And of course, a full integrated structure like Pasar Chaurasta is a new iteration of evolution of market in Penang. So you have parking structures, hall, community hall, general goods section, stuff like that. So to cut short, basically we can see that market in Penang is never a shed. It's actually a particular neighborhood. So it is a collective amount of traders that makes the market the market. So I would say, I love nasi kerabu. I think there's a beauty in it. If you haven't tried it, you should. You can appreciate the magic of mixing it all up. I think Penang is very rich, and it's food related. So if you look at it, if you could imagine this as a plate of nasi kerabu, there's the blue rice, the ayam percik, the santan, stuff like that. So it is designed to look like a small city. So we actually design each houses to house each produce. So there will be meat house, seafood house, veggie house, fruit house, stuff like that. And in the middle, it will be flanked by open space like a plaza or courtyard, say. And there is a clock tower for navigation, so you kind of know where you are going based on that view. So you can appreciate the market. So the market look like this: general goods and food sections, and on the second floor, which is the market floor. So there's not many elevated market floor, but Penang is fairly dense. There's a lot of parking requirements, stuff like that. So we kind of elevate the ground. There's another reason, Jelutong, in the neighborhood of Jelutong, there's always flash flood. I think there's one time that Guang are asking for ATM or federal government to come in. So this is the kind of neighborhood that kind of have all markets are on the ground floor. So the market cannot be operational after the flood. due to the fact that they have to clean up and stuff like that. So we elevate them for that particular reason. The section will go through, yeah, so you can see that the produce is housed in each different shed, and then basically it is well connected to the surrounding. The ground is mainly for the parking, and we can let it flood if it happen. The idea was, if you look at it, when we put the market shed on this floor, we can have an infinite sky upward. So we don't have that white beam or white under slab anymore. So it gives you the impression of the volume. You can appreciate ventilation light a bit more. And we won first prize for this against big names as well, ALM Architects, Veritas, and we are the only entry that does not reside in Penang, doesn't have an office in Penang. So it's kind of weird. Yeah, we presented this to the Chief Minister, the Mayor, and of course the Member of Parliament, yada. But of course, we need to be sensitive. There's a lot of life involved in this. There's a lot of traders, almost 300 traders. So we need to be sensitive. So the idea was to really look at what they have to say, trying to accommodate their concern. And what we did is that we did a public participatory design workshop. We have 4 modules. We have 50 over participants, and we try to do this in tri-language, like a truly Malaysian way. Hokkien, English, and Malay is being used for all instruction and announcement. So I have some students from Taylor's to help me, and some students from USM because obviously it's in Penang. So yeah, so they are very happy due to the fact that we care about them, because they are coming there all guns blazing to object or create chaos. At the end of the day, I said we don't have anything designed yet. We need your input. So it is true. We have moved the design. You can see this is the latest one. It doesn't look anything like the previous building because we have to change sides. It still features a lot of good things. So we have this temple complex at the back, and because we replaced the existing one, and we have the festivity crescent that you can close, Hungry Ghost Festival, stuff like that. So you can still have an alternative draw off, and the circulation still works. And this is the crown jewel of this particular market. There's a logistic core of 12 bays for cargo lift, dry storage, wet cold storage, and B2B sections. And then the first floor feature food court and service-based business, tuition center, barber shop, saloon, stuff like that. And of course, on this floor, where the car can go up, you can go and see the full video of the project in our YouTube channel. So we feature this departure arrival island and then departure arrival foyer, sort of like your airport. So you can come here, and then we have 5 lanes ready for you to drop off your passenger if you're a Grab driver or e-hailing service. Grab your your elderly, people that with disability, children, or even pick up your wife. So you can take your car from ground and pick up whatever whoever you need on top. It features this linkage of roads, boulevard, and alleyways that actually connect all these markets. So you can see there's plant-based market, and then on this side, and then animal-based market on that side. We are respecting dietary restriction of vegan. Obviously they can't smell, the smell of chicken or meat might make them vomit. We try to respect that. And of course, we have Muslim dietary confinement. We have a total separate non-halal section, which is good because most market actually has shunned away their non-halal section. In Pasar TTDI, non-halal section is on the ground. The only market that is on the ground. The rest is on the first floor and second. And in Pasar SS15, actually you can't get to the non-halal section from the market. You need to, go to the asal. If you went on this particular market, you will know. So in a way, we try do justice on both sides. We try to elevate, non-halal market to a prominent place, a good place, and then the rest of the dietary we try to respect. So when you go through here, you can curate, narrate your own journey. So this is when we're not doing architecture or, hobby per se. So you need to, always be 100, I would say. So those market that you saw, it's actually been published into this easy to read research pamphlet. and we have habitation as well for the house. And there's a lot of underlying concepts, thoughts behind it, but we try to make it snappy. It's not that much of a word. You can read through very fast. And of course, we have done this for others project as well. So we have 5 right now in the series. You can get them either through our website or Shopee. You can just find them if you're interested. Or there's a free engagement. We have YouTube channel. Of course, we upload a video a week. And oh, there's a sound. So the idea was, okay, so this is one of unique one. This is our first project that we are doing crowdfunding. So obviously it's crazy. We need like 140 mil, and right now we have like 250,000 raised. But this is sort of like a business school, try to using the model of endowment. So you can, if you have more money, you can, get the auditorium name after you, ballroom name after you, stuff like that. So we are involved in creating this crowdfunding material. So it is beyond architect, a bit more beyond just architecture. We do branding. We try to reposition what the project could be, and we try to help them using social media means. And of course, this is, I think, the first time it's been made public. It's actually not been approved yet by UiTM, but it is more or less that the information, the project, blah blah. I used to teach in Taylor's. The keyword is used to teach in Taylor's for 6 years. So this is some of the studio that I ran back then. Yeah, it's fairly interesting. Sometimes when you're in office, so for example, like this, House Vision is actually a Japanese-based architecture research about house with people like Sao Fujimoto, Kengo Kuma, Atelier Bawao, that kind of caliber. So when they come here to do a Malaysian franchise, this is in GDP. We actually participated in, and of course, a lot of others, good architects. Actually, we are coming in as an internal research unit. So we sort of create this framework where other architects can mingle around, but unfortunately, not a lot of architects have the time to do this pro bono exercise. So we kind of get a slot as a participant as well. On top of that, on the international stage, I am the Malaysian representative in Architects for Akija, Council of Young Architects. So in a regional body such as Akija, we have 21 country members, and basically each country will have a representative to talk about the issues regards to young architects. And this is my first international speaking gig in Vietnam. I think very honored to be invited, and followed by Bangladesh. And this year actually already been scheduled to talk in Indonesia and Philippines. Unfortunately, the COVID-19 deterred that plans. And I'm also went to Milan for a month for Hasana Design Residency in Politecnico di Milano. So it is a good experience under the patronage of Hasana. Of course, we went there with other 3 Malaysians, Angus, Peyang, and also Amin. So this is some of our works that we did there, exploring what landscape 4.0 could mean in an old military site. And of course, we do a lot of other things as well. There's an engagement tool for Think City JB. We did a research on master plan. They asked us to design a master plan here. We say no, we don't want to, because this Sugai Segat has been done like thousands of times. So instead, what we do give them is a tool that they can recreate the design, infinitely. So you can create iteration after iteration of design using this tool. We pass it to them. And of course, my long-lasting legacy will be in the form of my son. Kaiser is around the studio, around the office. We are all, architecture is all around him. And I hope all of us at the end of the day can be shameless. So shameless in terms of grabbing opportunities, be greedy to learn more things, and don't be afraid that your small niche has no sort of market value or what I call it, prospect. In the end of the day, in the future, you just need to know, very little to be very good. I mean, certain people just do 3D, certain people just do animating, just certain people just do coding. So as small as you thought that it might not have value for now, but in the future it could be, endless. So that not all hope is lost. I think that's it. Thank you so much for listening.
Woo! Thank you. Thank you. Wow, that's a very jam-packed and intense session. Thank you so much, Mr. Kawal.
Yeah, I tried to get it on the dot and